Moving a lot of new pieces in on special teams this year, with Alex being really the only main returner, with having a new punter, new holder, new long snapper. How's that group coming along here?
They've been working very, very hard, very concentrated. We do have David King, who's been a guy that has snapped for us in the past. He's had a really, really good spring. Austin Mock, young freshman that was redshirted, is doing a good job at snapper. Landon Brown has moved in as the holder. We're really starting to feel comfortable with him. We're still competing at punter. And the thing that's neat about Alex Probert is that he's versatile enough that he's been able to work in some reps at both kicking and punting. So might give a little test to his leg in the fall and see if he can hold up and do both jobs. But right now, Aiden Alvis is doing a pretty good job, and Jonah Williams is in there as well. So I'm pleased with him. We're not game ready yet. No, not in any stretch of the word. So any stretch of your imagination. But hopefully we can get there by the time we open up in the fall.
Third straight year with a new holder for Alex. Is that something that really matters, or is it just them getting their timing down, or how does that impact them?
It's more so they have to work a lot together to where Alex trusts him and he trusts that he can get the ball down for Alex in time. It starts off a little bit rough at the start of the spring, but we've allotted quite a bit of time for working on PAT field goal this spring. So, in fact, more so than last year. So we've ended up doing it quite a bit, and we've seen a lot of improvement in it. But it's going to stretch into them working together on their own in this summer, just to see how that cohesion builds. Because we did have a pretty good crew last fall, and when you lose guys like that, well, you just have to move on and go to the next man up.
Had a couple kicks that got blocked last year. Was that kind of a personnel thing, and is there anything you're doing to try to obviously alleviate that from happening this year?
Well, a little bit of it. I think there's, two culprits in the case. One, protection at times was a little bit less than what we desired. And then two, we had some low kicks. So, yes, we're addressing that. More consistency in our technique, both up front and with Alex and his kicking. But I think the other thing is you're going to see the fact that our guys up front are getting bigger. We're adding more girth just in our new signees, but our guys that are our veterans, they're coming back bigger and stronger. And the bigger we get up front, the less pushback you get and the less penetration you get. And so hopefully that'll take care of some of the problems that we had last fall.
With David King also being in that linebacking group, what have you seen out of what he's been able to do as a long snapper? He's been here before, but being able to balance both responsibilities.
Well, the thing that he brings by being a linebacker that's played in games and he's played other positions on special teams, he's athletic. So now you've got a long snapper that can not only snap the ball on the punt, but has a pretty good chance because he's a linebacker to go down and maybe make the tackle. So, in our scheme, it kind of gives you three guys with the two gunners and then himself. If they don't block him, he's got a chance to have a free shot on the ball. So that's what a big plus that he brings to the game.
Have you had much of a chance this spring to get a look at the return game, whether punt or kick? And if so, who are some of the guys that are standing out there?
Well, we haven't worked a lot of kickoff return, but we've worked an awful lot of punt return in terms of the segments of it, the blocking part of it, and then the return part of it, not much of it together. But certainly DJ Stubbs, who fielded a lot of punts for us last fall, has proven to be a guy now going into his second year. There's a little bit more sense of, I guess you'd say, security. He's a little bit more calm back there, making some better decisions because he has the talent to make people miss. Certainly B.J. Farrow is back there, and B.J. Farrow has always been the veteran. If you're in a situation where you got to catch the ball, B.J. can go out and handle anything. So those two have kind of stood out amongst the crowd. Really disappointed, but on his behalf as well, Damian King, who's a guy that has returned for us in the past, he's missed spring with a hip injury, and so that's kind of something that we're going to look for in the fall. And then I think we have some young guys coming in in our incoming class, incoming freshmen, incoming signees that have a potential to make an impact in our return game area.
You're also, coaching the tight ends, fullbacks, that group. What have you noticed out of the tight end group? Coach Gill last week said Zach Fouts is out for the spring with an injury. What have you seen out of guys like Fidel Baith and Jerome Jackson to get them ready and get them acclimated? Fidel for his second year, Jerome for his redshirt freshman year.
Well, those two guys have done a good job this spring. Fidel right now is nursing a little bit of a hamstring injury and has missed a few practices. But, in his absence, the other guys jump in and they take reps. And so the more reps they get, the better they get. I've really been pleased so far with what Jerome Jackson has done this spring. Fidel showed early on a lot of retention of what he learned last fall and expanding upon his football intelligence within our offense and the game of football. Jerome has done that as well. They're more comfortable with our offense, with the terminology, with the plays themselves, and not only knowing their alignment and their assignment, but how to do it. And then actually just taking reps in a practice and going down and catching a ball with, a big-time DB hanging all over you or somebody coming up ready to hit you. They're making some blocks. We're doing a better job of that. And so I've been pleased with those guys. I've actually been pleased with the whole crew. They've done a really good job and have made some plays in scrimmages. So hopefully we can become a more functional part of the offense this year, particularly when you've got a guy with Zach Fouts coming back and would be healthy this fall. He's got a whole lot of repetitions, whole lot of experience from last fall that he's been very good about sharing with the other guys in our meetings.
Chris Barrett, I know he's not here in the spring, but I haven't talked to you since signing day. What have you guys seen out of him on tape or in person or whatever it may be that you're hoping to get out of him this fall?
Well, really love his personality, love his passion for the sport of football. He's a great fit for Liberty University. He's been in a similar type offense before where the tight end is not just a stationary attached tight end. He's moved a lot in terms of motioning across, shifting around, playing out in space, doing those kind of things. So I think just once he gets here and gets used to the terminology, he's going to bring more knowledge and more athleticism to the game. He's a big guy. He's a strong guy. He's a little bit older in terms of just age and experience, and he's excited to be here. I think he's a guy that we'll be ready to go with come the end of August and fit him right in the rotation. Really excited to have him. And also I want to mention our other signee, Mason Yost. I mean, possibly one of the grittiest guys I've ever been around. When I say that, I just say, this kid's tough. I mean, he gets on somebody and he wants to block them till they're completely up in the stands. Plays very, very physical. Just finished, in the top, 6 in the state of Florida in his weight class in wrestling. And this is for a guy that is in a state that really likes their wrestling, and he's only been wrestling for like 2 years. So he's a physical kid, and I think we're going to hear some good things out of him in the future as well.
What have you seen out of Michael Bollinger, Mitchell Lewis, two guys who are battling for that fullback, H-back position of what you guys are going to replace in a Thomas Kennedy?
Michael Bollinger played a lot for us last fall. And when I say that, as a fullback, he got in and spelled Tom on occasion. He played on some special teams. The one advantage he has is that he's gotten in a game situation and made a play. He's gone in and when a guy does that, all of a sudden his confidence level goes up. And he's played with a lot of confidence this spring. He and Mitchell are both really, really smart young men. They pick up on the offense really, really quickly. Mitchell has bounced back and forth between an H-back and fullback into the tailback slot last year. And so now it's kind of nice to have him settled in one area where he can work on his craft every day. They had a really, really good together. They had a really, really good scrimmage last Saturday. Contributed a lot to the offense, made some big catches, made some big blocks. Really excited to see them because, again, they add into the weaponry on the offensive side is they can do some things from a fullback slot that maybe a tight end doesn't do, but the tight ends do things from their slot that the fullbacks don't do. So they give us a lot more flexibility in the offense.